Yo, salute to everybody already here in the building, man. You guys know what time it is. Welcome to the latest installment of Coffee and Convo. I am your host, Graphk Raider, man. Salute to the greatest chat in YouTube history. As always, I appreciate every single one of you guys. Make sure you wipe them feet around here. That means get those likes up and also hit that subscribe button if you guys are not subscribed yet. I hope every single one of you guys had a phenomenal July 4th. You know I did. We kind of just relaxed, kicked it, barbecued up some burgers. Man, let me know in the comment section what you guys had going on yesterday, man. I hope everybody is safe. I hope everyone's families are doing well. Salute the Green Dot Gang. Salute to CGR 24. My father's in the building. Appreciate you guys as always for pulling up. Brave, Jordy, Mondo. If you guys want to become members like my guys, hit the link. It's pinned up top. It definitely helps us keep the lights on over here, especially in the dark days in the off season where it's slow motion as always. But it's a lot to talk about today. You guys took 3-4 days off. You know what I mean? Training camp right around the corner. The Rooks report the 17th. The Veterans report the 22nd. So, we're going to start getting a lot of news here flowing soon. I want to talk about the Darren Waller situation. I haven't got a chance to kind of put my 2 cents in with that. I want to talk about Geno Smith and this Mitchell Schwartz situation. I don't know if you guys got an opportunity to see this, but it looks as though the former Kansas City Chiefs all-pro offensive lineman had something to say in terms of Geno Smith. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to give you my take on that. And also, man, we're just going to talk about some free agents. I'm seeing a few trade rumors out there for one specific wide receiver. And I'm going to give you my reason on why it's a no for me. You know what I mean? And I'm hoping you guys can give your takes as well in the chat, man. Salute to Mando, Coffee and Convo, man. Come on, man. In that content. Salute to my guy, man. My dog Mondo in the building. Let me see. Get those likes up. Get those likes up, you guys, before we get rolling. Brave says, I had barbecue, T-bone steak, soda plate, Yahtzee, and fireworks. God is great. Salute to my guy, Rick. As always, CGR says, wipe them feet. Yes, man. Get those likes up, you guys. Keith, man, I'm hoping you're all okay, my brother. He said, just got the hospital, had surgery on my knee. Salute to you, brother. Salute to Jordy, man. Salute, family. You as well, my brother. Real talk. Something's going on today, you guys, with StreamYard. When is it not? So I took the green screen down. We're just going all natural today. So, I took a chance. I took full advantage of not, having the green screen and saying, let me wear some stuff that's green. So I went A's today because I cannot have the green screen on. StreamYard, get your shit together, man. Please get your shit together. If you want us to continue to stream from your platform, you got to get your shit together, man. It seems like one day it's this, the next day it's that. What are we doing here? What are we doing here, man? Come on, man. Y'all had me live 2 weeks ago for like 4 hours straight. It was nasty work. I couldn't even log out. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? And Mark, that's another reason why I wore my A's today, because, we kicked the Giants' ass last night in Sacramento, 11-2. Talk street life. Talk, Mark. You love to see it. Salute to my guy CGR also gifting 5 of them things, man. I appreciate you, my brother, as always. If you guys want to become a member, missed out on those, hit the link. It's pinned up top. Once again, it definitely helps us keep the lights on over here. CGR, my brother, I appreciate you. And once again, we're going to be having a lot of membership-only shows. So if you guys want to be a part of those shows, make sure to become a member. Once again, we have some fun over there. We shoot the shit. We talk about everything, even outside of the Raiders. So make sure you become a member and let's talk. Matt, it looks like 4 more years. From what I've heard, I think it's 2028, 2029. Probably three or four more years. So, and you just never really know what can happen in Vegas. I know they broke ground out there, but things can, you can get some hiccups here and there. Next thing you know, it's 2030 and the A's are still in Northern California and Sacramento. So salute to my guy, Josh, as well. I appreciate you, my brother, on becoming a member. My dog. Salute. Sean says, getting a bit of coffee and convo while I wait to get that yard work. I'm about to do the same thing here in a second. I got to get this grass together. Sean, it's nasty, nasty work. Terrence, I know, man, my A's suck, but as long as we beat the Giants, I'm okay with this, man. It's like the Raiders, back in the day, what was it, 2014? 2014 was, or no, 2013? Wait, when was it? 2014, I believe, right? When we were 0-10 and we beat the Chiefs, and that was like our Super Bowl. I'm cool with that. Look, right now, this is where I am with my A's at this point. Simple and plain. Just beat the Giants. That is our 0-10 Chiefs win. And everybody remembers the Justin Tuck, Khalil Mack. We all remember that. So, Hug, my brother, man. It's good to see you in the building, as always. John Bailey says about the same time Graphk gets to Vegas. We'll be talking about that soon. Salute to my guy, John Bailey, as always. Had to buy my own. Kept getting free ones. Salute to Josh, man. I appreciate you, brother. Let me see. Love it. Love it, Hug. See, now Hug lied to me, and I don't like that. I don't like that, Hug. So we'll get to the show here in a second. Hug hit me up and said, I've got this new dog, which is a beautiful dog. He said he named it Ash after Ashton Genty. Okay. I'm like, oh, that's so dope. It's so dope. Then I see him post a picture on Instagram, and it's a totally different name. Okay. I don't even remember the name because I was so frustrated with Hug, the my father himself. What are we doing here, bro? The wife must have said no. Okay. Because I tried to name Chloe Raiderette. My wife said, we're not doing that. So I'm feeling like you went through the same shit. You said, oh, the 8-year-old hit it. Okay. Money Main, my dog, still making moves to LV. A Stadium is fire, man. Money Main, my guy. It's funny, man. I'll be updating you guys. I put too much information out there sometimes and get ahead of myself. They say jump the shark. I'm using that totally wrong right now. But we're working on a ton of things behind the scenes, Money Main. And all I can say is this, in the near future, we are planning on being in the West Coast. That's all I'm going to say. So in the very near future. So stay tuned for that. Salute to my guy, Money Man. So let's talk about it, you guys. Rumors right now, right? Everybody's doing a lot of things for clicks, generating clicks because, right now it's slow motion in all the sports, honestly. It's that weird break right here. Where that June, July, where it's just like, man, there's no football, there's no basketball, free agency, right? Baseball, but I'm a diehard baseball fan. I know there's not a lot of people in here that watch a ton of baseball, hockey, the draft is over. It's just slow right now, right? So there's a lot of talk about, what the Raiders should do moving forward as training camp is right around the corner. And once again, I want to start here. Let me find this. Raiders, that's not the one. Boom. I'm going to find this. Salute to Yahoo Sports. And I believe this came from, where was it? The NFL. I think it's NFL.com, I believe. NFL Analysis Network's John Porter put this out there. And this is off of YahooSports.com. The Raiders should make a move for Brandon Aiyuk. Okay, this is a guy that kind of a polarizing figure at this point. So many ups and downs with the Santa Clara 49ers. 1 minute he wants to leave. The next minute he wants to leave. The third minute he wants to leave. The fourth minute he signs a 4-year extension worth $120 million with the Niners. Tears his ACL and MCL. Don't know when he's going to be ready to go this year. But he put an interesting trade idea out there. Once again, this comes from NFL Analysis Network's Jonathan Porter. He believes the 49ers could trade Brandon Aiyuk to the Raiders because we have a need there at the receiver position, according to John Porter. Looking at the Raiders wide receiver depth chart, they could use an influx of proven talent. This comes from John Porter, and Aiyuk represents the best of those likely available out there. It'd almost be a no-brainer for the Raiders if he were available. So, once again, we've talked a ton here, you guys, about potentially bringing in another wide receiver. I was all in on going out and getting George Pickens from the Pittsburgh Steelers. He eventually goes to the Dallas Cowboys in a trade. There were some other guys we talked about, free agents, of course, Amari Cooper. We're going to talk about him here in a second as well. Gabe Davis, which I would love, the big body, former Buffalo Jacksonville Jaguar wide receiver. I know he's coming off of a nasty injury, but I would love for him to potentially come out here and give us some extra love there in the slot. But this is interesting. This is a guy in Aiyuk that really hasn't played since 2023, where he had 1,342 yards in the air, 7 touchdowns in 16 games. Hasn't played a ton since then. Once again, came out last year, had, tore his ACL, pretty much missed the entire season. This is a guy that could play inside out, play on a boundary, play in the slot, would definitely add some versatility to this wide receiving core. But once again, a 4-year extension, $120 million. What does that trade look like? Once again, I think he did play in like 6-7 games last year. So don't quote me on that, you guys. I think he was like 6-7 games, but short-lived 2024 NFL season before he tore his ACL and MCL. Me, honestly, you guys, this is a no. I don't think there's any reason to go out there and get the likes of a Brandon Aiyuk. The attitude, the stuff that the Niners have had to deal with up to this point. Shanahan found a way in 2023 to unlock him. He was kind of like their number one option out there with Kittle and Debo and all those guys. Phenomenal offense. I hate the Niners, but I have to be honest here. That contract is nasty. We do not know what he's going to look like coming back from that injury. Honestly, this is a super no for me. A super no. I want to see what we look like out there with these young guys. And once again, we have one guy in particular in Jacoby that is looking for an extension here in the near future. This is the last year on his deal. So he's going to be looking for an extension. We have a ton of young guys on this roster. Trey Tucker, rookie deal. Dante Thornton, rookie deal. Jack Besh, rookie deal. It's a super no for me, man. It makes no sense to go out there and pay a wide receiver a ton of money like that, coming off of a nasty, nasty injury, regardless of how he would fit within this in this offense. I think that Chip Kelly would work wonders with Brandon Aiyuk, but it just doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense at all because of the money. I think the reason behind not going out for Jalen Ramsey, you guys, is because the Raiders didn't want to spend a ton of money for that contract. They didn't want to part ways with any draft capital. I mean, look what Miami eventually got. They got Minka Fitzpatrick in return. So it looked as though the Raiders were not really in on that. I mean, if we did make a move, it probably would have been like a Michael Mayer situation, late round pick. I don't know, but this is a no. I want your guys' take on this. The money, 4 years, $120 million deal, coming off of the MCL, ACL tear. It's just nasty. And once again, I don't think that this necessarily, what has it done for us in recent memory, you guys? We go out there, we pay a ton of money for Antonio Brown. We know what happened. We go and spend a ton of money on Devontae Adams. We all know what happened. We have young guys on rookie deals, rookie scale contracts that we want to see what we have. Dante, we're hearing a ton of noise about him and how great he looks out there early on in mandatory minicamp and in OTAs. And, the pads will be on here shortly, so we'll see where he is in the grand scheme of things. Jack Besh hearing wonderful things. That's, he should be signing that contract very, very soon, you guys. Right around the corner from training camp. The NFL was still kind of just up in arms right now with the whole second round thing with all these guys waiting to sign. So stay tuned for that. We'll talk about that at a later date. But if you're going to pay this kind of money, just pay your guy Jacoby coming off his first 1,000 year, receiving year. Has been very durable up to this point. A guy that is a Swiss Army knife, can block, great route runner, can play on the boundary, can play in the slot, can be your emergency quarterback. There's no reason to make a move for a Brandon Aiyuk. Makes no sense. I understand the idea behind it, but I would rather be young at this position. And Aiyuk is still fairly young, but what I mean by coming off of that nasty injury just doesn't make a ton of sense for me. You know what I mean? So salute to them. Once again, salute to the chat. I want to know your guys' take on this. It's a major no for me. There's no reason to go out there and trade for the likes of a Brandon Aiyuk when we have no idea when he's going to be available and what he's going to look like coming off of that injury. So it's a no. I think the Niners would love to move that contract. They made a ton of moves this offseason to get off some nasty contracts. They moved Debo. He's with the Commanders now, and so on and so forth. So we shall see. But no for me for Brandon Aiyuk. Salute to my brother Hug, man, on the $50 splash. Hire a damn Gardner Graphk on me, fuck them weeds. The thing is, Hug, I did hire one. They come every 2 weeks. Thursday, they decided to skip my house, do the neighbor's house. Apparently, half of the guys quit. Well, I think it was like 75, 80% of the guys quit on the company. So they have only been here once in like a month and a half. So I got to find a new guy. They skipped my house yesterday after I went in on them on the phone. I got to find somebody new. So in the time being, I got to go out there and handle this shit on my own. So nasty work. Salute to my brother Hug on the $50 smackaroni. Salute to Matt. Still waiting for that Tim Brown replacement. Man, we thought we had it for a long time, and it just has not worked up to this point. But you know what, Matt? I want your guys' take on this as well. Bleacher Report, I wanted to talk about this. They put out a Mount Rushmore, Raiders Mount Rushmore since 2002. They had 4 guys on this list, okay? And I want your guys' opinion because I have a different approach to this. Since 2002, okay? So remember this, since, the Super Bowl run, the Rich Gannon, Timmy, all that. They had Rich Gannon, they had C. Wood, which I have no problems with either one of those guys. I have those guys both on the Mount Rushmore since 2002 as well. Max Crosby and Sebastian Janikowski, okay? I'm going to say this. Tim Brown has to be on that list. He has to. There's just no way Mr. Raider is not on that list. So I love Seabass, love him to death. I think, isn't he our all-time leading scorer? I mean, shit, at one point, all we could do was kick field goals, right? So Bass was the guy that was always there to help us in the jam. You could always depend on Geno to go out there and score for us when we couldn't get in the end zone, right? But I have to take Geno off that list, okay? You put Timmy on there. They put Max. This is no knock. You guys know I love Max Crosby. Salute to my guy, Max. I think he's going to go down as one of the greatest Raider football players of all time. But I'm going to take him off and put Khalil Mack there as the 4th guy. Okay, so I have Gannon, C. Wood, Tim Brown, and Khalil Mack. Those are my 4 guys on the since 2002 Raiders Mount Rushmore. Okay, I gotta go Khalil over Max. And once again, I love Max to death. Sean, I hear you, but remember Geno at the end of the career, end of his career, he started to miss a ton of crucial kicks. There was a point where, we were kind of like hit or miss with Geno, you know what I mean? And we always expected greatness out of him because he was always so phenomenal for us. But Sean, you think that you're going to, so you got Geno over a Khalil Mack and a Tim Brown? There's no way. There's no way to me. There's just none. And I don't care, Coach, if Mack only played for the Raiders for 4 seasons. I mean, he had 3 All-Pro and 3 Pro Bowl years with us. I believe it was 3 All-Pro or 2. Was it 2 All-Pro? He had a Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2014 where he played, I know a lot of people were pissed off about, the sack production, pause if necessary. He only had 4 his rookie season, but he played the run at a high clip. He was phenomenal for us. Year 2 in 2015, played in all 16 games. He was very durable for us, you guys. Khalil Mack never missed a game in his first 4 seasons with the Raiders. But that second year, he had 15 sacks, which was amazing. The year after 11, the year after 10.5, before Gruden decided to trade him, to the Bears, where he had 10.5 in year 1. And once again, this was a guy that was the first a guy to be an All-Pro at the linebacker and edge rusher position for us. Okay. Defensive Player of the Year, I believe in 2016, that year where we went on a nice run, 12-4. Khalil Mack to me is phenomenal. I'm not taking nothing away from Max. The most sacks he had in one season was 14.5 in 2023. Before that, it was the year prior in 2022 where he had 12.5. Love Max. Love him to death. All-Pro, Pro Bowl guy. And I think at some point I'll be able to move Khalil Mack off of there and put Max there. But I have to put Mack there. I just have to. But I want your guys' take. Since 2002, your 4-man Mount Rushmore, Bleacher Report put it out there. Max, Seabass, C. Wood, Rich Gannon. I think they got it right with Wood and Gannon. clear cut. But I got to add Timmy there, and I got to put my guy Khalil Mack there. So there you go. Mark says I go with Max over Mac, but Mac was great. Okay. And no knock, like I said before, I love Max. Good guy, great football player, even better human being. But I got to put Mac on the list. I just have to, regardless of – remember, you guys, I mean, he didn't want to leave. That was on Gruden. Gruden moved him. All he wanted to do was get paid. And, we traded him and then followed that up with a Cooper trade, and we seen what happened with that whole situation. So, but I wanted you guys to take on that. Let me know in the comment section. Four-headed Mount Rushmore since 2002. Let me know in the comment section. And once again, you guys, Amari Cooper – still available out there, right? This is a guy that, former Raider, homegrown talent, didn't really end well with him. We moved him, with Gruden, I believe, in year 2. I think that was the year when Coop was out there with Jordy Nelson. I think we won 4 games that year. Gruden decided to move him. We got a first-round pick out of Dallas. He went out there and had some really good seasons. Another Pro Bowl, kept his Pro Bowl, career moving, a couple with Dallas. I think he has 7 under his belt now. I think he's a 7-time Pro Bowler up to this point. Played really well for the Cowboys, had some good seasons, for the Browns. Last year, teetered between Cleveland and Buffalo. Didn't really have a great year by any means. But once again, man, just another guy that's still available out there. And a lot of people are wondering if the Raiders are going to make the move. Salute to Heavy.com, and also salute to Cody Benjamin, who's been covering our Raiders all off season over there from CBSSports.com. He put it out there that the Raiders should go make a move for Amari Cooper. Now, this would be more of the kind of move that I would make rather than make a move for Brandon Aiyuk with that nasty contract and coming off that nasty, nasty injury. This is what Cody Benjamin had to say. The Raiders certainly made offense a priority this offseason. Definitely acquiring Geno Smith via trade, then spending a first-round pick on Ashton Jeanty, giving the Silver and Black 2 cornerstone playmakers when you include second-year tight end Brock Purdy. Benjamin wrote, the one area that can still use some help there is the veteran wide receiver position, and Cooper knows the franchise well, beginning his career with the Raiders and briefly working alongside current quarterbacks coach Greg Olsen, which previously was our offensive coordinator. If they're serious about competing immediately under new head coach Pete Carroll, it makes a ton of sense. They'd use some of their excess salary cap space on a passing target. So went on also to say, this is Heavy.com, that the Raiders, we picked them up in 2015, made the number 4 pick in that draft class, had 2 Pro Bowls with the Raiders early on. Went to the Cowboys in 2018. They had a good career with them as well. This is a guy that is a 7-time Pro Bowl. He is 30 years old now, you guys. He's not the same player that he once was, but this would be the kind of move that I would make at this point. Bringing in a veteran wide receiver, it would not cost you a ton of money. I have not heard a ton of anything in regards to Amari Cooper at this point. I was thinking maybe Pittsburgh would kick the tires. He's a 7-time Pro Bowler. They can use another offensive weapon out there at the wide receiver position. They made a move for Jonnu Smith. So now they have that kind of 2-headed monster at the tight end position with him and Pat. But they can use another wide receiver. They just paid DK Metcalf a ton of money. They're going all in with Aaron Rodgers there. They made the move for Jalen Ramsey, Darius Slay, so on and so forth. I thought that maybe Pittsburgh would make a move there. I think it makes sense for us. We have a ton of space. Once again, Jacoby is kind of like the elder statesman in that wide receiving room right now. He's 28 years old. He'll be 29 this season. I would make a move for Amari. I know right now we kind of have this blend of receivers that are sure-handed. Jack Besh, i.e. Jacoby, who didn't drop a ball last season. Great route runners, Jacoby, Jack Besh, so on and so forth. We got speedsters out there now with Trey Tucker and Dante Thornton, but I still believe that Amari has a ton left in the tank. He may not have all the same speed that he once had, but once again, he was kind of put in a bad situation last year. The Cleveland quarterback situation was bad. He goes to Buffalo there in the middle of the season where he's trying to build a chemistry with Josh Allen, and he already had a ton of chemistry with those tight ends out there and a few of those wide receivers. So, I'm gonna kind of wash my hands of Amari Cooper's 2024 season between Cleveland and Buffalo. But what do you guys think? I know it didn't end well. I know that A lot of people, it's kind of a mixed bag with Amari Cooper. When he was here, dropped a ton of footballs, looked like he didn't really want to be out there. A lot of people, including myself, kind of laughed at the facial expressions that he used to have when we drafted him. He looked unhappy as hell. He's not a guy that, has a ton of personality. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think he's kind of starting to show it slowly but surely there on Instagram, with some of the purchases. He's getting older now. So I think he's getting a little bit more, open to the media and this whole social media experience, right? But I'm not against bringing in Coop rather than bringing in a Brandon Aiyuk that just signed a massive 4-year, $120 million deal. Do I think that we have to? No. I like this room. I think that this is an interesting room with Dante and Besh and Tucker and, Jacoby. If anything, I'd rather, if it's not Coop, bringing in a Gabe Davis. I heard that maybe there's some interest there between Pittsburgh and him as well. Once again, I don't know where Gabe is with the injury, situation. I don't know where he is in terms of health, but I have no problem making Amari Cooper a Raider. Bring him home, let him end it where he started. 1-year deal, maybe a 2-year, second-year team option. But at this point, I think Amari Cooper is going to be dealing with some 1-year deals, moving forward, at this stage of his career. So I have no issue with bringing Amari Cooper. But salute to Cody Benjamin once again, stating the obvious here that the Raiders could potentially use a veteran in that wide receiver room because of the youth movement that we have on full display in Las Vegas with all these young guys on rookie deals, and especially the rooks, and then the 3rd-year guy in Trey Tucker. So salute. Nah, it's grab 3 because he caught 3 in one game. Talk that talk, man. I wish Crab was still in the league, man. You love to see him out there making moves with our Raiders. Salute to Sean. Amari took too many plays off for me while with us, and he suffered from chronic dropitis with us. Not sure how he's been since. I mean, he still kind of had a case of the dropsies. He had some in Dallas. He had some in Cleveland. He had some in Buffalo. I mean, it is what it is. Amari, that's who he is at this point. But when he's on fire, he's on fire. So, but once again, it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg at this point, Sean. It's just not. But I understand some people's ideology of let's not bring in Amari Cooper to potentially take reps away from Dante or Besh or these young guys. The thing is this, though, I'm kind of worried that we're very dependent on a bunch of young guys that are still trying to, find their way in their rookie seasons. We're putting a lot on Dante's plate. We're putting a lot in Jack Besh's plate. We're putting a lot in Brock Bowers' plate in year 2, even though, I think that he's going to stand the test of time. But Trey Tucker as well. I mean, is he going to kind of hit that corner here in year 3, our former 3rd-round pick out of Cincinnati? So sometimes it's just like, whew, you kind of just want more of the sure thing because at least what you're getting. With Dante and with Besh, we expect a lot out of these guys, and we just don't know what it's going to look like in year 1. And we've seen it a ton in recent memory, you guys. Young guys come in, and it takes some time for them to get it together. It takes time, for them to adapt to the speed of the game and so on and so forth. But we shall see. Let me see. Yeah, he might not cost us a ton of money, but he might cost us plays if he still drop it. Well, Martin, that's the kind of it's to me, it's a low risk, high reward kind of move if we decide to bring in Coop. Me personally, that's just how I feel. You know what I mean? And once again, let me see. I want to see what his market value is, you guys, real quick. Wipe them feet, y'all. Hit them thumbs up. Market value. I want to see what his market value is at this point because I know it's a 1-year deal. Amari Cooper's projected market value is around $14 million per year. Spot Track projects a 2-year, $28.4 million contract for him. This valuation is based on performance and age, with some sources noting his production as the skills as a top tier wide receiver. I'm looking over at Spot Track right now, and they have him at 18.8 mil annual salary. They have market value 2 years, 37 mil, which this is not true at all because once again, this late in the game, I don't think you're looking at an annual salary for Amari Cooper for 18.9. There's just no way. Let me go over the cap. I want to see where they have him at. So they have him at career earnings, 136, career annual per year, 13 mil. They don't really have a market value here for him as well, but 14, I get it. 18, no. I still think that maybe it'd be like a $8 to $10 million deal with maybe some incentives there to get him over the $10 million hump. But I don't think that Amari Cooper is going to get that kind of money at all. 18, 14, there's just no way in hell. No way in hell. I think a 1 year kind of $8 mil to $10 mil range, and you could add some added incentives there. Production, how many games he plays and so on and so forth. I'd probably go 8 to 10 with the deal, maybe up to 12. And once again, no state tax. Coop has never experienced that. He's always, well, yeah, he did with the Cowboys. I'm lying. But with the Raiders, California taxes, Cleveland, Ohio taxes, Buffalo, New York taxes. I think that it would make a ton of sense for Vegas to bring him in. He can get his money, no state tax, and it makes some sense. Salute to everybody here. Once again, no for me on Brandon Aiyuk, a yes for Amari Cooper if the price is right. Because once again, I think we can use another added body, a guy that is proven his worth, 7-time Pro Bowler, who's played at a very, very high level, in his career. So let me see. He said too much bread. Give me DJ Chark. Yo. Salute to my guy, Mark. It's a no for me, dog, on DJ Chark. No way. Let me make sure I'm caught up on the chat. Salute to everybody here in the building, as always. Salute to everybody watching on Twitter. Also, I appreciate you guys so much for rocking. If you guys want to get involved in the chat, jump over to YouTube, man. Hit that subscribe button. Become a member. You already know, man. All the good stuff. All the good shit. Martin says, go get George Halani. I think we're good at this point with Ashton Genty, my dog. I do. I think we're okay. What do you guys think, man, about Darren Waller coming back to the NFL? This is kind of interesting, right? Took a year off of football. Didn't work out there with the New York Giants. We traded him for, I believe, a 3rd-round pick at the time. We got our pick. Giants didn't get what they wanted in that deal. But it looks as though the Giants swapped like a late-round pick with the Miami Dolphins for the former Raider tight end. I think the Giants gave up Waller in a 2027 7th-round pick in exchange for a 2026 conditional 6th-round pick. So kind of a swap of late-round picks. I'm actually shocked that the Giants got anything for Darren Waller at this point, especially, what was it, 2 weeks ago, you guys? I think 2 weeks ago that he was on some podcast, I forgot where, he spoke about not having love for the game anymore, right? Fell out of love. There was a time where they were playing the Buffalo Bills and Waller had to block, and he was just like, you know what? At that time, I realized I was ready to move on and not play football anymore, okay? Now, this is also a different situation for D-Wall right now, right? I think he's 32, 33 years old. Don't quote me on that. Took a year off. D-Wall seems like he's still in good shape. A lot has changed in D-Wall's life, okay? He went up to New York. I don't think that the music thing has worked out, and that's no knock to D-Wall. I hope that he continues to make music if that's what he loves to do, if that's what feeds his soul. Do your thing, King. Once a Raider, always a Raider. I'm not a guy that is a major fan of what he does musically, but I have no issue with him chasing, a dream of his. Once again, salute to D-Wall. I've recorded at his studio in Atlanta. I did the Soul Nation song, the Raider anthem, at D-Wall's studio in Atlanta. So, but this is no knock to D-Wall. But, the divorce since then, I think he still lives in the Las Vegas area. He's still out there a ton. He just signed a 1-year deal worth up to $5 million with the Miami Dolphins. I'm assuming that, there's more incentives there for his production. They don't know what they're getting at this point with D-Wall, coming off of a year off. And once again, coming off of saying that he's not in love with the game anymore. This was kind of a shocker. Miami sounded as though they were interested in making a move for Michael Mayer. It was clear cut that the Raiders did not want to move on from Michael Mayer. It sounds as though they have him in their plans heavily this year on the offensive side of the ball, which is great. I never entertained Miami trying to come out and get Michael Mayer. I thought it would be a terrible deal for us. He's still in a rookie deal. We can run a 10 of 12 here. He's more of your traditional tight end. Brock Bowers is going to be lined up all over the place. Okay, so But he gets to reunite you guys with his former tight ends coach. I think it's Frank Smith, which is great. D-Wall, there's some connections there. Our former fullback is out there, Ingold as well. So there's a few former teammates that he has out there in Miami. So there's a connection there, okay? And once again, 1 year, $5 million deal. ESPN graded this as a B move for the Giants in particular. But I don't really know what the Miami Dolphins are doing right now. I just don't. I don't know if D-Wall was really trying to go down there and just get one more year and get one more bag, because he's kind of felt the wrath of the offseason, taking a year off and not really getting any bread like that. Because once again, in the music game, you guys, it's nasty work right now. If you're not one of those top guys, I don't really see that, any money in music right now. And this is no knock the wall, but once again, I don't see him moving mountains musically. I don't see him signing major deals. I just see a video here and there that kind of goes Raider viral, and then it kind of just disappears. But I don't know what Miami's doing. I think they could have made a move for a younger tight end. They went out and got Mika Fitzpatrick, who's still 28, I believe, and he can still play at a high clip. He's not the same guy that he once was, but he's still a high, a good. Actually, let me say this: a great football player. You know what I mean? But once again, I don't think he's the same player that he once was, but he's still a great football player. But Miami's just they're in a weird situation here. I just kind of what are you doing here? You move Jalen Ramsey, you move Geno Smith coming off of a Pro Bowl year, and then you go talk the Giants, out of a late round swap for a Darren Waller who just admitted that he does not love football and that he retired because he did not want to block, which is really, really weird to me. I mean, could you imagine him having to go out there and block for a chain is a chain. I think it's a chain. I think that's how you say his name. He'll probably retire again at the drop of a hat. You know what I'm saying? No, you know what? This shit ain't for me. I do believe that, he's a big body, 6'6" tight end. And I think that offense is very interesting. It's going to be interesting to see the way they play him. There's going to be a lot of motioning. I think that they'll find a way to get something out of D-Wall. But once again, it's just you're literally hiring a guy. You're bringing in a guy on a 1 year deal that literally just told you he does not love football anymore. So Miami, I don't know what the hell you guys are doing. It's just very, very weird to me that you guys would go out and try and talk D-Wall. At this point, I think that D-Wall might be trying to get to Miami to maybe try to get to DJ Khaled or maybe a Rick Ross or maybe a Trick Daddy Slip and Slide Records or some shit. Maybe he's just going down there to get the South Beach experience and try and find a record deal. I don't know what the hell D-Wall got going on right now, man. I mean, hey, salute to him for finessing Miami out of a bag and getting a couple milli. I don't see D-Wall specifically playing after this year. I think this is maybe, a move with some ulterior motives here. Don't be shocked if you hear a DJ Khaled soon with D-Wall. It could happen, right? You never know. But salute to D-Wall. He's back. Once a Raider, always a Raider. Salute to him. But I just thought this was a very, very weird move. Just very weird. Salute to one of the craziest names in YouTube history, Dick's Insider. I'm becoming a member, man. Salute to my guy. I always say that my guy looks like one of those motorcycle mice. He's built like a motorcycle mouse. Really big up top and then just, no legs and shit. Salute to Cider, my dog, man. Appreciate you, my brother, as always. Salute to my guy. I think you're just reeing up on your membership, but salute to my guy, man. Let me see. He said those Latinas are going to make his legs weak. Yo. And I see it happening, Matt. I do. I see it happening. I can see Ewers potentially still in that job very soon because of durability issues that Tua has with the head injuries and and all that other stuff, the concussions. You want to see Tua go out there and play at a high level because of all this shit that he's had to deal with. But if you listen to these Dolphins fans, man, they kill this guy over and over and over. This offseason, I've seen some brutal messages on Twitter when it comes to Tua, man. So, hey, man, hopefully that guy goes out there and balls out. You know what I mean? But it's going to be interesting to see if Ewers can steal that spot at some point. Let me see. Salute to the chat. Yeah, Johnny Bravo. There you go. Cider is Johnny Bravo 2.0. Facts. He says, still got bigger legs than Tyree. Salute to my guy, man. Salute to my brother Thor in the building. Yay! What up, nation? Salute to my brother Thor in the building. As always, great to see my dog. Salute to almost 700 people here rocking with me, man. Wipe them feet, y'all. Hit them thumbs up. If you guys are not subscribed yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We just talked about the Darren Waller situation, him signing with the Miami Dolphins for a year. Talked about the potential of bringing Amari Cooper in. Cody Benjamin of CBS Sports brought the idea up. Salute to my brother Intel, man. It's always good to see my brother Intel in the building, man. We missed you, my brother. We talked about the potential trade for Brandon Aiyuk. I forgot the NFLanalyst.com, I believe one of those guys brought up the thought process of why the Raiders can make a move for Brandon Aiyuk. Ain't no way in hell. Don't do it. Too much, you just see him complaining all the time. He got the deal he wanted. He's still complaining. And once again, coming off that nasty injury, I don't want nothing to do with that contract. I don't want anything to do with dealing with – it would have made sense if AP was still in the building, right? The Arizona State connection, they're tight. That would have made sense. But right now with what we got in the building with Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll and company, just does not make a ton of sense to bring him in. So no on that. Quality content. Salute to my brother, LV Maximus. Always good to see my guy in the building as always. I want to talk about this as well, you guys. There's a retired former Chiefs offensive lineman, all-pro, that has some interesting words to say about our new quarterback one, Geno Smith. I don't know if you guys got an opportunity to see this. I forgot what show he was on. What show was he on when he talked about this? I want to bring this up. The GM Shuffle podcast. There you have it. Former starting right tackle Mitchell Schwartz has some harsh words for Geno Smith ahead of the 2025 season. This is according to athlonsports.com. Salute to them. This is what he had to say about our new quarterback one. They trust Geno Smith, and trust is important, Schwartz said. Now, I think Geno is not as good as people want him to be. I mean, they love the redemption story about Geno, but he was good for about 8 weeks. Schwartz, 4-time All-Pro with the Chiefs. Also went on to say his first couple weeks, his first couple of months in Seattle, he has not been the same player since. But there were no other options, Schwartz went on to say, for the Raiders. It was either go with no quarterback in year one, essentially, right? So what do you guys think about these harsh words? It's funny, man. I hate the Chiefs, and I'm definitely going to talk about this on the show next Wednesday with my AFC West brothers. Salute to Ben, salute to Darcy. I definitely want to get their takes on this situation. But I don't really have an issue with him saying this. First and foremost, the Raider and Chiefs hate is always going to be there. Mitchell Schwartz he was there for a lot of time out there in the Chiefs. He knows about this rivalry, right? But there's definitely, and Dan kind of took the words out of my mouth, there's some truth to this. There's a reason, you guys, that I like the move a lot. I didn't love the move going out and trading a third-round pick for Geno Smith. He's definitely been an kind of up and down type situation. Yes, Dan, he did deal with one of the worst O-lines last season and one of the worst ground games in football, and still threw for over 4,200 yards, in the air. Yeah, he had like 21 touchdowns and like 15 picks. Wasn't a great season by any means. But once again, some of the stuff that he had to deal with offensively out there was tough. New system, once again, the injuries that occurred there on the O-line and the ground game not being able to roll because of the O-line situation. So, but once again, it's always a mixed bag with Geno Smith. It's always a mixed bag. But remember this, Schwartz. Remember this. He's a 2-time Pro Bowler, okay? He's a 2-time Pro Bowler. Those 2 years that he did that in 2020, 2022 and 2023, I believe, right? They were under Pete Carroll, the guy that brought him in to be that next guy once they moved on from the likes of Russell Wilson, okay? So yes, he struggled last season. Yes, he threw a ton of picks. Yes, there's a huge piece of the internet that acts as though Geno Smith is a top 5 quarterback. And then there's a big portion of the internet where they act like they say that Geno is like a bottom 5, bottom 10 quarterback in the league. There's always a mixed bag with Geno Smith. And I still believe that he fits somewhere in that 10 to 12 range. At some points, he looks like a top 5 guy. Derek Carr did that, right? There was times where Derek Carr, remember 2021, you guys, those first 5 games, that playoff season, it was just like DC was just playing lights out. Geno kind of has those same qualities, where it's like sometimes he goes out there and he lights it up, and sometimes he goes out there and makes mistakes. I think Mitchell Schwartz, the difference here is Pete Carroll. Okay. Also, you add the fact that you bring in a highly intelligent offensive mind like Chip Kelly to be the highest paid offensive coordinator in football, a guy that once recruited him at the collegiate level. Chip Kelly, I believe, wanted him. Was it in Oregon, or I forgot where it was? I think it was Oregon at one point. The difference here is Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly. And also, you're giving him potentially the best running back that he's ever had, at his disposal with Ashton Genty. So I'm not saying that Mitchell Schwartz is lying at all. I think there's some truth to what he has to say, and to be determined if he can, kind of get that stain off of him that Mitchell Schwartz kind of threw on his reputation, so to speak. But, I'm not going to look, Mitchell Schwartz can't stand you, hated you as a Chief, hate you now because you're a Chief, right? Could care less about what you got going on. But I got to be real here. There was some truth to what he said. So, but I do believe that Geno is in a way better situation here in Las Vegas with the weapons that he has, the offensive line that I think a lot of people are worried about. Not me. I think we're going to have one of the better offensive lines in football. I really, truly believe that with Chip Kelly and Brendan Carroll out there and Philbin still in the mix. But once again, to be determined. And we'll discuss this at a later date. But once again, I have no issues with Mitchell Schwartz. Keep that energy. Former Chief, he's always going to hate the Raiders. It's a Sean Merriman situation. Sean never has anything good to say about the Raiders, and rightfully so. He's a Charger at heart. He'll be a Charger for life. So I expect this from former AFC West guys that can't stand our Raiders. But once again, there definitely was a little bit of truth serum with what Mitchell Schwartz was saying. So we shall see what it looks like this year. I think that Chip and Pete Carroll are going to unlock Geno this year. I don't care if he's 34 years old. I think this is going to be a fun year to watch Geno Smith at the quarterback position. Salute to Nathan, my guy, on the $5 special. Schwartz has been out of the league for 5 years. Meanwhile, Geno is still balling. Talk that talk, And I'm going to bring this up real quick. I had it accidentally deleted the window. But, Geno be 35 this year, you guys, in October. Also, once again, there's still a lot of tread on the wheels there, right? Because from 2015 to 2021, there wasn't a ton of football being played. In year one with the Jets, he played in 16 games. He started in 16 games. He had over 3,000 yards, but he also had a nasty year, 21 picks, 12 touchdowns. The next year he plays in 14 games, starts in 13. But then after that, played in 1 game in 15. 2016 played in 2 games. 2017 played in 2 games. 2018 he played in 5 games. 2020 played in 1 game. 2021 he comes over to Seattle and he's sitting behind Russell Wilson. He plays in 4 games. He starts in 3. So when you start to see him actually get back into his bag and playing games in 2022, 17 games, 17 starts under Pete Carroll, might I add, he had 30 touchdowns. 30 touchdowns, okay, to 11 picks. Pete Carroll, Pro Bowl year, most improved player of the year. The following year, 20 touchdowns. He has 9 picks, played in 15 games, started in 15 games. And then last year, he kind of, had a down season once again with that terrible O-line and that really, really bad run game in Seattle. But he did play in 17 games, started in 17 games. They went 10-7, and then once again, 15 picks, 21 touchdowns. Not great by any means, but I think he's in a better situation with us right now in Las Vegas. So, Nathan, salute to you, my brother. Let me see. Salute to the 700 plus people in the building. Yeah, I got my A's stuff on, man. 4th of July, A's go out there and cook the Giants. You love to see it in my hometown of Sacramento, man. You love to see it 11-2. And I'm hoping that we continue this trend tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern, when the A's face the Giants. Once again, former Bay Area rivalry in Sacramento, in West Sac. Let me see. Kenny, teams are already dreading what's coming. Talk, Kenny. Talk. I want to ask you guys a question as well. We've talked about these free agent guys ad nauseum here, right? It's the offseason is really, really slow. We've talked a ton about Mike Hilton, which I don't think is a guy that is on the Raiders' radar at all. I could be wrong. You know, in the blink of an eye, maybe we bring him in. He's the best slot corner available in free agency. Yes, he's 31 years old, but right now he would be the best guy available there for us in the slot. But Justin Simmons is still available. He's still available. And I want you guys' take on this of why, right? Because salute to SB Nation, silverandblackpride.com. I forgot who put this article out there. I think it's Ray Asperia. Put some names out there that I wanted to talk about. Justin Simmons is a guy that we've talked about a ton, right? Still available. He is kind of in the latter part of his career, right? 31 years old. I think he kind of fits the mold of what this regime would like at the safety position, 6'2", 202 pounds. You know, I think that he would be an extremely great weapon for us at the safety position. Last season with the Falcons, 62 total tackles, 2 picks, 7 pass deflections. Down year in regards to what he's used to and what he's accustomed to statistically. Also, salute to Silver and Black Pride. He went on to say that 22 receptions on 37 targets, 229 yards. He gave up 3 touchdowns, 59.5% completion rate he allowed when quarterbacks targeted him, which is pretty impressive at this point in the game as a 31-year-old guy. We also do have a ton of depth there at the safety spot. We brought in Chin. We brought back Palomau. We have Trey Taylor in year 2, our former 7th-round pick at the Air Force. We still got Chris Smith, Harper, Lonnie Johnson Jr., a veteran guy that we brought in the offseason. I believe he's 26 years old, former Carolina Panther, that can give you some safety reps and some special teams ability there. This is not necessarily a need. I did say this the other day. I can see potentially the Pittsburgh Steelers making a move for Justin Simmons. But I want your guys' take on this. Why is he still available at this point? Why? You know, I'm trying to figure out why he's still available this late in the game. Maybe he's asking for too much money. I'm just trying to figure out why a former all-pro safety that at one point was probably the best player in football at his position, at his respective position, why he's still available right now. It has to be a money thing. It definitely has to be a money situation. But they did mention him, right? They mentioned Mike Hilton, which I don't think makes a ton of sense for our Raiders right now, personally. Once again, he would – well, you know what? let me say this. I can't say it doesn't make a ton of sense because he would be the best player at that position if we brought him in. But once again, we're going to see a ton of different looks. I've said it a million times. These safeties are going to be in the slot. You're going to see a lot of different moving and shaking there in the nickel. I know that they're really high on Darnay Holmes, Patrick Graham's guy from their time with the Giants. And then they like Harper there in the slot as well. And then once again, you'll see Palomau and those guys getting some certain reps. They had Quentin Jefferson, former Raider great, right? A guy that, you know, is a veteran at this point. I think he's played for Seattle, for the Jets, for us, kind of a journeyman at this point, veteran guy that could potentially add some veteran leadership if Christian Wilkins can't go at this point. I think he did play under Pete Carroll with this time in Seattle, so there is a connection there. What would you guys think about potentially bringing in the 6'4", 290-pound defensive tackle? He played pretty well, played okay for us with his time in Las Vegas. I don't have an issue with this. I do believe that they like what they have at the defensive tackle position with the you know the Fotus, you know the JJs. the Tonka Hemingways, so on and so forth. I think they're going to go with the kind of the youth movement there at the defensive tackle position. And once again, we don't know really where the hell Christian Wilkins is with his health situation. We don't know if he's going to be ready for training camp, be ready for week one. They're kind of playing the waiting game with him. But what do you think about potentially bringing him in? He started in 17 games for our Raiders in 2021. This is according to silverandblackpride.com, where he racked up 47 total tackles, 5.5 sacks, and 5 tackles for a loss. He really did play pretty well for us. At this point, you guys, is a rotational veteran kind of journeyman defensive tackle, but I wouldn't have an issue with if they brought him in at this point. They mentioned Keenan Allen, which, makes some sense to bring in as a veteran guy. And I don't want to mention any other guys, the Neville Hewitts. I don't think we need another linebacker at this point. Dalton Reisner, I don't think we need another guard at this point. I like what we have out there at the guard spots. But what do you guys think about those names? I have no issue bringing Q back. I have no problem with that, but I do believe that, Justin Simmons would be an interesting guy to come in at this point, but I don't think that he's a rotational guy at this point. I still think he's the starter. I think in his mind, he believes he's a starter. I think that he wants top shelf money, which I'm not willing to provide for a 31-year-old safety at this point, coming off of a down year with a defensive-minded head coach out there in Atlanta. I like what we got with Jeremy Chin. I'm willing to wait it out and see what Palomau and Chin look like there at the starting spots, at the strong and free. So let me know what you guys think, man. Let me know what you guys think. Salute to Silver and Black Pride. I wanted to go over that article a little bit, add some light to it. Hopefully everybody goes over there and checks it out, gives them a few clicks. Hilton would be a perfect Raider. He's cheap, just the way the Raiders like it. I mean, look, Lake Show, usually in year one, right, this is kind of what it looks like with the new regime. I don't know why a lot of people are kind of like tripping off of this. I mean, remember Gruden came in and, there was a ton of Jordy Nelson type contracts and bringing in these veteran guys, 1-year deals. The Raiders did that this year too. But the thing was, they didn't go out there and get old guys. They went out there and paid Eric Stokes a 1-year deal, who's still really, really young, that fits the mold of what Pete Carroll likes at the corner position. You go out there and bring in a Devin White, who's still young. What is he, 27 years old? Somewhere around there, 27, 28, somewhere in that range. Still young, 1-year deal, inexpensive. You did bring in a Landon Roberts. That is one player, that's kind of up there, right? How old is a Landon, you guys? How old is he at this point? Let me see, Landon Roberts. 31, and he just turned 31. So, and we signed him on a 1-year, $3 million deal, inexpensive. Jalen Smith is back, coming off of taking a year off, which I don't think he's going to make this roster, to be honest. I think that, them going out and getting Jermaine Pratt kind of signed, sealed, and delivered, his way out of Las Vegas. I don't know what he has left in the tank at this point. But this is what regimes do in year one. They bring in a ton of talent on 1-year, inexpensive kind of prove-it deals to kind of evaluate what they have in the building still. I don't think a lot of people really realize that. A lot of people that come into these organizations in year one bring in these 1-year guys because they want to evaluate what they have in the building already. They want to be able to evaluate their draft class this year before they determine, extensions and what moves they need to make to, actually mold this thing in the vision that they see fit. So, it is what it is. I wish Asante Samuel Jr. was a healthy Tyler, man. That would be an interesting pickup. But once again, I believe it's, what is the shoulder, neck? I forgot what it was. But it seems as though teams are worried about, his health for sure. I haven't really heard a ton of interest in terms of Asante Samuel Jr. at this point. Let me see. Demokes is stupid. Salute. Get a couple more questions in, you guys, before we get out of here real quick. We're not going yet, but I want to plug away some shows. Tomorrow, me, Big Mike, and Hammer will be live doing a Raiders fantasy football show. So stay tuned for that. Big Mike has a lot that he wants to go over in terms of fantasy value with our Raiders. So stay tuned, you guys. I believe it is 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific time. So make sure you guys pull up. Me, Hammer, and Big Mike will be live on all 3 of our platforms. Also, Monday, me and Stu should be doing our show. The players you guys threw out there into the universe in the chat that you wanted Stu to do some homework on. Me and him talked yesterday. And it looks as though he should be ready to go with his evaluations on, I believe, Ashton Genty, Dante Thornton, Tommy Malott, and then there was one more, Darian Porter. I think those are the 4 players that we asked Stu to evaluate. So stay tuned for that. That's Monday. And then the AFC West show was moved to Wednesday to everybody's schedules were kind of up in the air. So Wednesday will be the AFC West show. Moving forward, it's always Tuesday nights, but Wednesday this week. So stay tuned for that. And we're working on potentially an interesting reunion of sorts with the AFC West show. So stay tuned for that. We're going to have some fun this year with that show. Let me see. Okay, that's what it was. Okay, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific for the fantasy show tomorrow. So there you have it. Let me see. Salute to my brother Hug on a $10 smackaroonie. I prayed to sweet baby Jesus for a great year this year for our Raiders. I like to picture my baby Jesus in a tuxedo t-shirt. Shows he likes to party. If you know, you know. I know, Hug. I definitely know. Talladega Nights, my boy. Classic. Salute to my guy, man. My brother Hug. This is facts. Let me see. Who's better in comparison from Carr or Geno? I mean, up to this point in their careers, you have to give it to Derek Carr. I mean, has Geno ever had a 2016 type year? No. Remember, you guys, Derek Carr was one of those guys that was damn near, leading the MVP candidate type situation that year. Like, Derek Carr could have easily been the MVP of 2016 if he didn't break his leg. So, Geno's had a few good seasons out there in Seattle, but I'm not trying to kill DC, man. I have to be honest here. DC's a 4-time Pro Bowler. The last one you have to question, right? But you got to give that to DC at this point. A guy that leads pretty much every passing statistic in Raiders history. So I got to give it to DC. If we could have had 2016 Derek Carr for life, man, we would have been on to something. You know what I mean? So I'll give Carr the edge here for sure. But I'm hoping that Geno can continue, his trajectory upward, even at 34 years old, coming off of a down season last year, but the 2 years prior under Pete Carroll was pretty impressive. Let me see. I agree, Matt. I think that, once again, mobility is key. He can, create plays with his legs if need be. He's still more of a pocket passer, but I love the way Geno climbs the pocket. That's one thing that I value over DC. I think that Geno, the way he climbs the pocket, the way he goes through his progressions, I'm going to pick Geno over that. The deep ball, DC has thrown some beautiful deep balls in his past, pause if necessary. But Geno is that guy right now. Like he is the GOAT in the NFL right now in terms of the deep ball. Him and Josh Allen and a few other guys, of course. But Geno's one of those guys, top 5 guy in terms of throwing a deep ball, which we need this year with all the speed that we possess, on the outside with Trey and Dante Thornton. Salute to my guy, man, Robert Hicks, gifting 5 OLV Raider Network memberships as well. My brother, I appreciate you, man. Salute to my dog. Salute to all the new members here in the building because of my brother Robert Hicks. If you missed out on those 5 and you want to become a member, hit the link. It's pinned up top, man. Hicks, my brother, man, salute to you. Salute to Hug. Salute to everybody, man, that's supporting the show today, man. I appreciate it. CGR, all my guys, I salute you. Mark, man, I think that Cam is going to have every opportunity to go into camp and beat out AOC. In a perfect world, Cam lights up training camp and he's your future guy, right? I mean, But let's be honest here. He's a 6th-round guy. There's only a few of those guys that really actually really carved out a great career in terms of 6th-round guys. In a perfect world, Cam Miller goes out there, Chip Kelly unlocks him in year 1, and you got your backup for for now, and then you have your potential future guy of the future. But I already have a bold take, and I don't know. I put it out there, and a lot of people disagree with me. I can see Cam Miller potentially being the backup quarterback because, once again, Aiden O'Connell, former regime. I think that Chip Kelly wants to have more of an athletic quarterback. Cam Miller is definitely more athletic than Aiden O'Connell. One thing that Aiden does have is the experience. He's played and started a ton of games up to this point, going into year 3, right? So, but we shall see. We shall see. But I think that Cam is going to get every opportunity in camp. And we get a chance, Mark, to see him first because the 17th, the Rooks report. So we get to see Cam Miller first. So we'll get an idea where he is, with Chip Kelly's system, and we'll get an opportunity to see where he is before Aiden gets a chance to go out there on the 22nd with the vets. And I like Aiden. You guys know this. You guys know I like Aiden O'Connell. I'm an Aiden O'Connell fan. I love his mentality. I love his story. I think that he could be a really good quarterback in the National Football League. But I just think that this regime drafted Cam Miller. They took him there, and it sounded like Tom Brady had his fingerprints all over this. It sounded like Chip Kelly was all in on Cam Miller becoming a Raider as well. So, I just feel like this regime, and once again, Aiden has this year, and then he has one more year on his deal. And I think he'll be a free agent. So, in a perfect world, you got Cam locked up on a rookie deal. You could potentially move on from Aiden at some point soon. And then you got your guy of the future, maybe, in Cam Miller, which I don't know. I'm not the biggest Cam Miller fan, but maybe he can shut me up and prove me wrong. Let me see. He's about to pull up on Graphk and all Dodger blue. I don't have an issue with the Dodgers, man. I always tell everybody that if I had a second baseball team, it'd be the Dodgers. My uncle Steve Sachs played for him. I believe he was the Rookie of the Year in 1982. They Jackie Robinson. They ripped my heart, out of my ass in what was it, 88? Was it 88? Dennis Eckersley, Kirk Gibson, the home run. I think was that 88? I think it was 88, right? Because we won it in 89 against the Giants. But yeah, I have no issue with the Dodgers, man. I have no issue with them. Any chance I get to watch them beat the shit out of the Giants, it's beautiful to me. It's beautiful to me. So I hope that the Dodgers beat the shit out of the Giants every opportunity that they get. Every single time. I love it. I love it. Yeah, 88, Mark. That was the year. Yep. Because my uncle was actually, I think he was he on deck? I think my uncle was on deck behind Gibby when Gibby hit that home run to win the game. I do believe my uncle was on deck next at the bat. So, but hey. I want to start talking some baseball too, you guys, and some basketball, man. We're here in a minute here, man. I'm working on some things. I want to start the Shillmore Network here soon, where we could talk about more sports, entertainment, wrestling, baseball, basketball, football, hockey, WNBA if we want to. Stay tuned, man. I'm working on some things. I definitely want to get the Shillmore thing rolling here soon. I'm trying to find it right here. This is what I'm working on, Shillmore Sports Network. So stay tuned, man. We're definitely going to get another channel rolling, and we're going to try and never have an off season where we can talk ball all day, every day. Yeah, there you go, Hammer. WWE, baseball, NBA, UFC, whatever you guys want to talk about. So stay tuned. Let me see. He said women's mud wrestling. That works too. Shit, fuck it. Yeah, man, it's funny. It's funny that the Knicks went out and got him. They're going to be very upset. He's a great defensive-minded head coach. His rotations are terrible. They got a better roster out there than the Kings have, but they're going to hate his rotations. I'm telling you now. I'll put it on Twitter, man. New Yorkers, those Knicks fans are going to be ready to jump off the Brooklyn Bridge when you see those rotations out there with Mike Brown. I don't really see this as an upgrade over Tibbs. So it's going to be funny, man, to see how that thing rolls. Let me see. It looks as though, man, they're kind of sitting on the offer. It sounds like we offered him Devin Carter, Dario Saric, and 2 second-round picks. I don't know why these Warrior fans think that they're going to get Keon Ellis or a Keegan Murray in this deal. It sounds fucking crazy to me. But hey, man, be delusional all you want, Warrior fans. Just those are 2 major pieces to the puzzle for this Kings team moving forward. So you're not going to get that. You're not going to get that. So I would love to bring in Kuminga. He's younger than both our rookies that we just drafted. He's 22 years old. And a guy that hasn't played a ton out there with Golden State. That's the kind of move my Kings need to make. We're not in a great market. We're a small market team. There's not a ton of interest from other guys in free agency to come play for the Kings. You know what I mean? So this would be a kind of move to make. Bring him in, low risk, high reward type situation. Pay him $25 million per. He's just starting 4. You get to move Keegan to the 3, and it'd be fun to watch him. Kuminga there with Sabonis and Keegan there at the 3. Let me see. Yeah, Mark, there's no way. We're not moving on from Keegan. It's crazy. Salute to Louis G, man, my dog. Gifting 5 OLV Raiders Network memberships. My brother, man, I appreciate you. Hammer, you will be blocked. You ever mention the Kings in Seattle in one, you will be blocked. Blocked. Okay? Look, you are lucky to be up there in New York where all your teams don't go anywhere, okay? Like real shit, bro. Like y'all are spoiled, rotten ass fans up there, okay? I am from Sacramento, California, man. I got to watch my A's play there for 3 or 4 years in a minor league team and then move again. Watch my Raiders move twice. Watch my Kings almost leave Sacramento to Seattle and Anaheim. Don't play with me, Hammer. Brother or not, I will get you the fuck out of here, bro. Matter of fact, block yourself, Hammer. You got a wrench. Block yourself, bro. Block yourself. Nasty work. Salute. Unceremoniously, Hammer. Like unceremoniously, bro. I remember the day where it looked like the Kings were about to leave. I remember our announcing team there breaking down, crying. I remember the players going into the audience, hugging the sign lady, and it looked as though we were gone. Then Vivek, is it Vivek? I always butcher his last name, comes in and finds a way, Carmichael Dave and those guys find a way to keep the team. Don't play with my Sacramento Kings, man. Oh, you don't? Good. Somebody block him, man. Get Hammer the fuck out of here, bro. Hammer's gone. Let me see. Serge, life happens, brother. Life happens. Hammer, I did not know you weren't a mod, bro. I definitely got to make you one, but apologize first for the Seattle comment, and then we'll get it right. But Serge, man, life happens, man. You got 2 kids going into middle school. A lot of other stuff going on. It's kind of difficult to just uproot your family and hit Vegas. You know what I mean? But we're working on some things. I know for sure this season I will be spending a ton of time though in Las Vegas. I'm working on a few things. Hammer, there you go. He apologized publicly. So this is what we're going to do, you guys. This is what we are going to do. Salute everybody here in the building. Wipe them feet, y'all. Hit them thumbs up. You guys are not subscribed yet. What are y'all waiting on? Boom, boom, boom. Let me see. Ranch gang, baby. Ranch gang, baby. Mention Seattle again, and I'm giving your wrench to the Mokes, bro. Let me see. Yeah, man, I seen that, Nomad. I seen that. And real quick, man, much love going out to Wasted as well. For those who are wondering where Wasted has been, there's no electricity out there in his area in New Jersey. It sounds like a tornado hit that area. No electricity. So I don't know when Wasted is going to be live again. We were planning on doing a show potentially today. And I know he wanted to join the Shillmore show tomorrow, but it looks as though he may not be able to. So salute to my brother Wasted, man. They've been dealing with no electricity for the last 2 or 3 days. So they're good. They're blessed. But no electricity out there is crazy. Cisco, definitely, brother. Definitely want to talk about my terrible Sharks as well. So Tokyo, Wasted's electricity got the gout. Yeah. Facts. Jack says, yo, Graphk, we got yeah, it looks like it, bro. Let me see. CGR, my brother. Yo, they didn't have electricity when Wasted was born, so he'll be all right. Coach, you win today's show. Let me send this over to nasty, nasty work. Oh my God, bro. Y'all ain't shit. But other than that, y'all, I don't really have anything else to talk about. We kind of talked about everything that's going on in the nation right now. We spoke about the Darren Waller situation. Salute to him on getting a deal out there with the Miami Dolphins. 1 year, up to $5 million deal. We talked about the Brandon Aiyuk situation. We talked about the Amari Cooper situation. We talked about Mitchell Schwartz and the Geno Smith situation. Once again, spoke about the same 3 free agents that we've talked about for the last 2 or 3 months with Mike Hilton and Justin Simmons and those guys. You know, football is right around the corner, you guys. Right around the corner. I mean, literally, what? It's the 5th, 12 more days in the rookies report. So we are right around the corner. I think I'm actually working on right now trying to get out there to Vegas to see one of those open practices. So if I am, I'll make sure to let you guys know. I would like to do some type of meet and greet if I can make my way out there for one of those training camp days. So stay tuned with that. But other than that, you guys, we will be live tomorrow. Fantasy football lovers, me, Big Mike, Hammer, covering all our players on the Raiders. We'll go over some other stuff in the National Football League in its entirety as well. Monday, we're working on the Graphk and Stu show, some evaluation, film review with Stu. And then Wednesday, once again, the AFC West show. So salute you guys as always. Once again, appreciate you. And we should be back in the locker room on the next show. StreamYard, get your shit together. It's nasty work out here in these streets. But salute you guys as always. Wipe them feet on the way out. Hit that subscribe button. Salute, salute, salute. Love you all, man. I'm outro.